Greetings, students. How are you doing today? Well, this day I want to teach you about genetics. In this video, I'm going to do a very quick introduction into this very beautiful topic called genetics. And in this video too, I'm going to talk about the origins of this topic and to celebrate the men and women behind this topic that is very key and very crucial to our lives. And yes, as you can see, to start, we have a picture of this gentleman right here. Do you know what his name is? This guy right here. This is Gregory Mendel. If you haven't seen him before, this is the chance. Yes, you can see he has his spectacles right there, looking very serious. And Gregory Mendel, as a guy, he was born into a German-speaking family, and he was raised in a rural setting. And his academic abilities were recognized by a local priest who suggested to his parents to, take him to send him away to school at the age of 11. And that just started off everything. But did you know he had a very rough childhood? He had a very rough life growing up, and at some point he was even down with depression, and he grew from all that and became what he became. And that just goes to teach you and teach all of us that the problems that you're going through could be the springboard that pushes you, that should push you to be the best that you can be. Now, going back, he loved to work with plants. He was a teacher, can you imagine? And he was a botanist too. A botanist is somebody who is scientifically studying the plants. And yeah, he had very interest in studying and the plants, and that is where I think he discovered most of what he traits, what he was calling units at the time, because in the 19th century nobody knew about genes. Even the word genes never really existed at that time. And so yes, big up to Gregory Mendel, because genetics is what it is because of some of the works that this guy did alongside other scientists and researchers. And yes, on the right here we have this guy. Some of his pictures, if you look closely, he almost look like Albert Einstein, which is another guy who celebrated but had a very rough childhood. So William Patterson is the name of the second guy right there. He is the one who came up with the word genetics. Can you imagine? He coined that word. And yes, he celebrated the works and pushed forward and continued with the discoveries that Mendel made. And yes, William Patterson was a guy who was born in the United Kingdom or England, and he is celebrated when we look at genetics. And yes, it's in the genes. And if you look at this cartoon right here, it says I'll climb up this strand of DNA to see where life takes me. And yeah, it's a comic way of just trying to depict what generally happens in genetics. So the genes are very key. That's like a picture of the double helical strands of the genes. And yeah, where did the word genetics come from? Like I told you, the word genetics was introduced in 1905 by an English biologist, William Patterson. And just like I said, he's one of the guys who celebrated and pushed forward Mendel's work and became champion of Mendel's principles of inheritance. And yes, genetics as a discipline stemmed from the works of Gregory Mendel, who, just like I told you, was a botanist and a teacher in the middle of the 19th century. And yes, he suspected there were traits that were inherited in organisms, and just by crossing garden pea plants. Apparently he loved working with plants, and he was a mathematician too. He came up with certain mathematical principles that are scientific and are very useful in genetics and still used to this day in the 21st century. And at the time he knew nothing about genes at the time, but he called them units, and that became the basis for the development of present understandings of heredity. And all present research in genetics ideally can be traced back to Mendel's works, and which governs the law of inheritance or traits, as he called it. So yes, Mendel celebrated, and William Patterson is celebrated. Now, they're not the only people who have their works contributing onto genetics. There are several others which I may not cover in this video, but yeah, that is where the word genetics came from. And we are going to look next into exactly what genetics is. Now, by definition, genetics generally refers to the study of inheritance of characteristics, or what Mendel called units, and these are passed on, the word passed, like from one to another, from where to where, from the parents to the offsprings during reproduction, and only at that time. So reproduction is very critical in terms of passing on of inheritable characteristics, and yes, that is what is at the core of the study of genetics. And you may ask what inheritance is. Inheritance generally refers to the study of traits or characteristics inherited by organisms, from the parents to the offsprings, and the variation of those units or traits or characteristics. So genetics means the study of, involves or refers to the study of inheritance of characteristics. And when you get down to study the traits or the characteristics and the variations that are involved, then that then become inheritance. And sometimes that word is used to refer to heredity too. And yes, I will discuss the importance of studying genetics in the next video, but for now, the term genetics, I have gone through it over and over again, a study of inheritance of characteristics that are passed on from parents to offsprings during reproduction. And just to look at this as an example of genetics, you can see there we have the parents, the man and the woman, apparently depicting reproduction, which occurs at cell level, the sperm and ovum. And the trait is not specified, it's just for demonstration purposes. There's an unaffected carrier father and an unaffected carrier mother. Probably they don't show those traits, typically. These are words that I'm going to discuss in other videos. And yeah, we have offsprings here that are different, and they're color coded just to show the chances of these parents getting offsprings of a particular genetic disorder, which is not discussed right now, but we will look at some of them to the detail later on in other videos. And yes, that's pretty much one way of looking at an example of inheritance and how those characteristics are passed on from parents to the offsprings. And yeah, another example of variation, which is also studied in inheritance. If you look at this picture, you can see a variety of people in terms of how they look like. We have our brother here, our father or uncle here, or a son. We have this beautiful lady smiling here, and several others. They are all very unique in terms of the skin color, in terms of how they are. Some you can even see the eye color is different right there. That's variation, the variety of characteristics in terms of in inheritance and in genetics. So just to sum it up, have you ever heard of the phrase, you are what you eat? Have you ever heard of that phrase, students? Take a pause to think about it. I mean, why? It's all because it's all in the genes. Look at this picture here. We have a baby is born. And if the baby grows up to have this in their diet, probably junk food. We have soda there, pizza, we have cigarette, we have the fries there. It goes down to the DNA, goes to the cell level. We know DNA is in the cells. And yeah, it makes the people be how they are. So some of these characteristics are actually acquired based on the lifestyles. So you are what you eat. They don't seem to be fake. They seem to be, you can see bottles of Coke. So this is just a demonstration to show that you are what you eat. And if we look at this other scenario, let me just give it a different color. We have a bike right here that shows exercise. We have healthy fruit right there, and we have some elements of exercise right there. And yes, it goes down to the cell level in DNA after biological digestion and all that. And then we have this healthy lifestyle of doing exercise, and you can see they're happy and very, agile and happy. So yeah, you are what you eat. Make sure you eat healthy, and also remember to exercise. Now, if you have liked this video thus far and you have enjoyed the class so far in this introductory topic, please subscribe to the channel and also like the video. And you can ask questions in the comment section, but most importantly, students, it's important that you ask your teachers questions, because they're your first line of contact when it comes to, and it's more immediate. But I will try to respond to your questions and comments as early and as fast as I can. And you want to stick around for the next videos on this topic, because I promise you I'm going to break down everything so that it's easier for you to understand and synthesize. And I'm also going to make sure that I put up questions that are higher order questions of application, questions that will draw your mind towards thinking deeply and tackling all the questions that you may meet in your test. Remember, globally right now, all education systems are shifting from just memory, recall kind of questions to high order thinking kind of questions. And I just want to make sure I prepare you for that in time, so that you're better established to tackle whatever it is you're going to meet in your test. I want you to do very well in this topic. And yes, subscribe, like. This is Teacher Angie. I'm going to tackle the importance of studying genetics to you as a student, and just generally the importance of studying that, and to tackle the concept of genetics, which is at the core of what we are going to learn throughout the other lessons. Make sure you check out that video. You don't want to miss this. And see you in the next video. Bye bye.